Hey there, it's Will from Growth Labs, and welcome back to the Marketing from the Trenches podcast. I've got a very special episode today. It's an amazing episode. I think you'll get a lot of value out of it because I've got my very first coach and mentor, John Logar, on the podcast. John is an absolute gun when it comes to sales, and he taught me essentially how to sell in a way that's congruent to to ethics, to values. I was a massive introvert when I first started in my own business and couldn't even do any sales well. So John was instrumental to helping me reshape the way I thought about sales and then to go on and actually really like the process of selling to customers. So I think we get a lot from this episode. It is a little bit of a longer episode, but John just goes through and drops some absolute knowledge bombs. And I think you would really get so much value out of this. So go ahead and listen to it right now. And if you really like this episode, if you like the content, please do go ahead and subscribe and leave me a review on iTunes or YouTube or wherever you're seeing this. It makes such a big difference to what we do. And besides from being a bit of a, it's a bit of a boost to my ego, it also helps me to understand what type of content you like best. So please do go ahead and subscribe and leave me a review and let me know what you want to hear more of. But besides from that, let's get straight into it because it is a bit of a longer episode, but I think it's going to be worth its weight in gold. I don't know how you measure weight, but hey, whatever. So enjoy and see you guys all on the other side. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Marketing from the Trenches podcast. I'm your host, Will Wang, and man, I think it's going to be such an amazing episode, and it's a bit of a, full circle moment for me because when I first started my business in the agency, John, who I've got on here, was actually my first coach, my first mentor, and he took me from like this geeky dude who was so introverted, couldn't get on the phone, couldn't do anything in the business and talk to people, and he helped me overcome that and turn into somewhat of a decent salesperson. And I'm so excited to have you on, John. It's a big moment for me to have you on here because it's kind of like the whole transition of the journey, mate. Thanks so much for making the time.
Oh, mate, I really appreciate you getting me on the show because I don't say this to everybody, but you're one of my favorite action takers, Will, because you have the progression that you've had from the time that when we first started to the time that you were evolving and developing your businesses, the different iterations coming to where you are today, where you're developing partnerships and agreements to leverage the expertise that you have in being able to communicate through email marketing, but more importantly, to help others to be more direct in responding to clients. It's been this huge transition to this moment. So, mate, I'm on board, and I guess this is really a good front too. So, this is a great way to reconnect. So, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And so John, I wanted to get you on here because we've had a few podcast episodes where the message has been about marketing. It's been about generating leads, getting the leads in pipeline full. But the other side of that is leads are only as good as what you can close, right? You can't take the leads to the bank and say, hey, I'm going to pay my mortgage for leads. So I think there's no one in the world better at closing than you. I honestly believe that. And if you can turn me from what I was to where I am now, I'm sure you've got some nuggets to share with everyone listening on the call as well.
Uh-huh. Okay, so I guess just from a model or method point of view, and we're talking about helping people buy what we have to offer, and you'll notice that I'm using, like, for those of you listening or watching, listen to the language I'm using. Like, I don't talk about sitting there closing deals. I talk about confirming or helping people or helping to work with people. So you're talking about, helping people buy your product or services. So one of the things I will, just to get, for those to benefit, listen to my phrasing. Like I choose my words very carefully. And there are certain words that you use when you're selling that can actually turn people off subconsciously. I'm a big believer in making sure that the person I'm speaking to is actually going to get help from what we deliver. And so if we frame the reference of selling to helping people to actually get what they want, their outcomes they're looking for, and the service you provide, then it actually changes the framework of how we approach what we do. My methodology has evolved into what we call 3 pillars and 9 X accelerators. I'm going to be covering the conversion pillar, but the 3 pillars essentially are clarity. You've got to be super clear about your offer. You've got to be clear about who will benefit the most from your product or service. Then you've got to understand the result that you can actually deliver to your client. When you understand those 3 things, you can actually sell with certainty and confidence that you can deliver an outcome that is relevant, that adds value to your customer, and more importantly, adds value to you and growing your business. The second pillar is conversion. It's the one that we're actually going to be talking about here. And conversion essentially is your marketing. So what you do to put your message out there to engage people. The second people is to direct client engagement. You've got to be talking to people to generate sales. This is not a push button industry in the productized service or the agency servicing or the consulting business. You have to talk. So client engagement really critical. And the third aspect is having a defined sales process that helps a client make the investment and come on board with your product and service. The third pillar is leverage. Leverage comes to productize. So if you can actually productize what you do, you can replicate and you can sell much easier. In our agency and Breakthrough, we're in the physical therapy market. We're doing nearly $30 million in revenue. We've done that in 4 years. We sell to one customer, one market, one product. We've been selling the same sales funnel for 4 years. We haven't changed it. It's the same funnel to the same client. So we've productized. From productization, then you've got retention. Very key. We're all in the business of generating new clients, but we've also, if we want to grow and scale, we need to keep those clients on board for as long as possible so we have retention. That creates a compounding effect of revenue. The longer we keep clients, the more we get paid. The more clients we bring on board, the more increased opportunity we have. And the last piece is your systems and your resources. So those are the 3 pillars with the 9 accelerators. We're going to focus on the sales part, the conversion part, and sales process. So getting the leads part for a lot of people, not very hard. We can always buy leads, right? We can always buy them. We can get them for free. We can scrape leads. We can get referrals. We can get all these. We can do a ton of things. When people say to me, John, I don't have any leads, right? What they're saying to me is that they're just not doing any work, right? They're not making any effort to put people into their pipeline. Getting leads is the easy part, right? You can get them for free. You can buy them. You can actually have other people give them to you, refer people to you. My 3 fastest ways of generating leads is 1, go direct. Number 2, work with a channel partner that already has your customers that you can add value to. They'll introduce you to a whole bunch of clients. Those are cheap ways to do it. And then the expensive way, or the way that you have to invest in buying leads to get leads. So lead generation and marketing is something that should be happening all the time. But the critical thing here is making sure that when you have somebody sitting in front of you that is interested in what you have to offer, that you've qualified them, that you actually help them to work with you. It's not what the mindset is. It's not that the client is exploring the idea of working with you. The client is actually looking to you to help them solve a problem that they have right now that they are unable to solve themselves, or they're spending money on that problem and they aren't getting the result they're looking for. So they need your help. So the frame of reference you want to create is, when we're sitting down with a prospective customer, I'm sitting down with the idea that I know that you're already going to be working with me. That's the first mind shift that you're going to go through. The only reason I'm showing up and talking to you is because I know that your current situation of where you are to where you want to be, I want to help you bridge that gap with the solution that I know that will help you achieve that outcome. So all we've got to work out in this sales process is, how are we going to work together? How are we going to work together to that outcome and that objective? So in my sales process, and I'm going to walk you through, we're going to do like what we call the 1 call close, right? So there's a couple of things that have got to happen. And by the way, Will, you can ask me any questions you like. I know I'm sort of riffing out here.
I've got heaps of questions, but I think, look, the point you make is brilliant, because I still, you showed me the sales process very early on. Oh, sorry, that's cutting in and out. But I was just going to say that your sales process, to this day, it's still the sales process that we use, because for me, it helped that reframe, and even the wording that we choose to use, it helped me reframe the mind. Like, I'm not trying to pitch to someone. I'm not trying to, to hard sell or hard close. I'm simply presenting a solution to a problem they already have and the pain they already feel. And I'm just we're looking for the process of how we're going to help.
Yeah. We're going to work together to help you with that outcome. So it's not you're sitting on your side of the table and I'm sitting on my side of the table, and you have to convince me that, this is the right thing for me. It's like, this is the problem you've got. I want to sit beside you, work with you on a plan that is going to help you bridge the gap to give you exactly what you're looking for. And my idea is that you do what you do really best, and that is be the doctor, be the roofer, be the engineer, be the insurance guy, be the accountant, and let me be the person who brings those clients to you so that you can be great to those clients. So to do that, we need to work together, side by side, not adversarially as a supplier, right? We need to work together to make that outcome real. So if we can work on that plan together, then ultimately I'm going to show you how we can make it easy for us to have that relationship. And ideally, you will benefit. You know, the investment you make in us should be free, right? It should be paid. Yeah. It should be paying for itself, ideally.
Win-win, yeah.
So the way we set the first thing is the way you set up the sales presentation is you've got to qualify the person first. Do they need your help? Number one. Can you help them? Number two. And number three is, will they pay you? Right? Can they afford to pay you for your service? Is really critical, right? And do you want to really help these people? That's the big question. So do you like them? Can you help them? And will they pay? Are three questions that you need to have answered before you actually take them into any sales presentation. Right? So that happens before. So, hey, this is what we do. This is who we help. This is how we help people. Right now, where are you at with your business? What's missing? What have you tried? What hasn't worked? Ideally, if I gave you the magic wand, what would that look like? If you got that outcome, what would the difference be? Let's get very clear about your objective, what this objective is. So let's do it. Let's use your business as an example, Will. Cool. You want to add another $300,000 or $400,000 worth of revenue to your business in the next 6 months. Yeah? Right?
Yep.
If you would add that right now, that would mean, let's say for all intents and purposes, that's 10 clients, right? So 10 clients in the next 6 months, roughly we need 2 clients a month, right, over that 6-month period to bridge the gap. So with our strategy of generating 2 clients per month to get you that extra $600,000 worth of business or $300,000 worth of business, with the average client investing between $30,000 and $60,000, right? If we put a plan into place where you're paying 1/10, your investment is perhaps 1/10 or even 2/10 of that return, is it worth us sitting down working on a plan to achieve that outcome, Will?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing I love about your process, John. It's kind of like, it's a no-brainer, right? Because no one's going to sit there and go, no, like I'm not going to invest that. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, but essentially I've sat there and said, for 600 grand, you're going to pay me 120 grand, right? That's essentially what I've told you. Yep. But if you weigh that proposition up, say, well, 120 for 600 or let's say 60 for 600, 10%, that's pretty reasonable, right? That sounds relevant. Yep. So what I've done is I've set an expectation of a budget, right? We've set an expectation of an outcome. This is what you said was important for you. So number one, we need the objective. What is important? What has to happen here? What is the outcome? How can we attach that to tangible results? The only tangible result I know in business is money, right? Cash, right? Yep. That's a tangible result, okay? When it comes to selling a service to bring in value or revenue of business, it's cash, right? Then I want to be super clear that why do you want this outcome objective? So, Will, you say you want $300,000 to $600,000 of extra revenue in the next 6 months. Why is that important to you? I want to know why that figure. What are you going to do with it? Because without putting any purpose towards that outcome, we can say, let's go for it. And if you're really not interested, then it's just not going to happen. It doesn't matter how hard I work or how hard you work. If we don't have the resolve as to why this is important, it's not going to happen. So you would say things like, I want to expand my business. I want to invest more in perhaps a new location. I want to bring more team members on. I want to buy the Ferrari. I want to go and buy the boat, take the vacation with the family. I want, these are the things I want to do with all this extra revenue income, right? Once I know we want to hit that outcome, that objective, we know this is why this is important to you. Now, my next question is a critical question. What is stopping you? What are the bottlenecks that are holding you back from bridging the gap from where you are now to adding this extra revenue to your business? And people say things like time, people, money, resources. We don't have the systems in place. We've just never been able to work out this lead gen thing, because we get a lot of rubbish traffic or tie kickers or, these are all the things that are going wrong, right? So if you think about this, so what we're doing here, we're not even in the sales process yet. Right? All we are doing is getting really clear about what the client wants, why they want it, and what's stopping them right now from achieving that outcome. And so my next question is really critical that sets up the sales process, right? So we're going to go into that.
Right.
And then I'm going to do a pause, and then you can ask me a whole bunch of questions before I get into sales. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's like a fire hose, man. I'm just.
No, this is absolutely awesome. Like this is the stuff that I really loved, especially when I first started working with you, because when I came on board, I had no idea about sales. I kind of despise salespeople, right? I come from a very IT centric background. All the sales guys were out there, riding Ducatis and driving expensive cars, and I was like, why are these guys making so much more money? They must be doing something shady. But after understanding this, like this is really good. I think people get a lot of value out of this, whether they're a consultant or an agency or not. I think most of the listeners are small business owners, so they might not be. But this is essentially a step-by-step, a path that they can do to almost double their conversion rates overnight. So super important. So this is amazing. Keep going.
So this pre-bit, like I've got the objective, I've got why that objective is really important, I've got what's stopping them to hit the objective. So this one piece is the piece that allows them to go, okay, let's sit down and look at how we can work together, right? So this is essentially what we're going to say, and I'll riff with you, Will. I'll say, look, Will, you said $600,000 the objective. For us, for you, that's an extra 10 clients that you, over and above what you're getting right now. This is fresh over and above what you're getting right now. To do that, we're going to roughly hit an objective of 2 clients per month, investing between $30,000 and $60,000 per month in your services. And essentially what's holding you back is lead generation, or generating those prospects into converted sales. So we might have some things where we need to filter people to get you better quality opportunities so that you can actually maximize your opportunity to convert those processes. You say everything you've done up to this point isn't working the way you'd like it to work. So ultimately you want to look at something that's going to focus you on hitting those outcomes for your business. So at the end of that, what I want to devise, or what I want to suggest to you, Will, for us to work together, I just need to know 3 things. One, that you are a reputable business that actually wants to scale and grow. You have a vision for your company, and you are looking here to play a much bigger game than where you are right now. Number 2, that you understand that you need to make an investment in growing and generating the extra capital in your business. So you must make an investment in marketing. You understand that you need to do that. And number 3, that you will look after every person that we put in front of you to help those people to make that investment of $30,000 to $60,000 in your plan, or in your project, or in your product offering, so you can hit that objective in the next 6 months of $600,000. Are you okay on all of those 3 things?
Obviously, the answer is yes, and I absolutely love that too. I absolutely love that, and
right.
The reason why I do is because I'm always really growing up the way I did. I've always been really hesitant talking about money. But I think the way that you frame the sales process is you frame it up front, like, hey, we're not here to kick rocks around. We're here to do serious business and to grow your business. So you need to understand that this is an investment conversation. Like this is a conversation where you might have to invest in your business to grow your business. So I really like that you're framing it early on. It's not a free consultation. It's literally walking through a plan. If you like the plan, well, let's go ahead and do it.
Let's go ahead and do it. Now we can charge for the plan. So I don't, that adds a little bit of complexity, because you can actually get paid for your time. Some people, I know you've done this, I've done this, many of the champions that I work with in the program sell their strategy session for like $2,000. Some of them sell it for as high as, I was talking to one of the people I coach, Quinn, she sells her strategy session for $25,000. In advance, right? Before you pay her for anything, like for any services, she charges you $25,000 up front to do a strategy session, right? And gets that money. And her average client invests between $150,000 to $250,000 per project, right? And they're paying $25,000 up front for the conversation. So that's a reframe. Don't want to confuse a whole bunch of people who's going, how the hell do we do that? That's a whole episode on this podcast.
Yeah.
But we've got so now I've got, okay, yes, you know that this is important. Yes, we're heading in the right direction. Yes, you know you need to invest in your marketing, in your business to grow that. And yes, that you will do everything humanly possible to look after those people that put up their hand and say, I'm interested in your offer, to help them buy what you have to offer. Because the more you focus on that, the more clients you bring on board. Because I want to take you beyond $600,000, Will. I want to build a monthly predictable system that you know that you can account for revenue directly for that outcome. That's what I want to bring to you, Will, right? So here's what's going to happen next. I'd like to sit down and put a plan in place to hit that outcome, that objective. I want to eliminate your bottlenecks so that we can make it easier and actually show you a path to maximize your opportunity to hit that outcome. And then I want to show you an investment in our services in working with each other that is manageable and affordable. More importantly, the idea for that investment that it pays for itself, so that our relationship is always covered, but more importantly, you are profiting from our relationship. Is that okay with you, Will?
Absolutely.
So at the end of this presentation, when we sit down and go through this plan, Will, I'm going to ask you, based on making sure that we're clear about heading to your objective, making sure that we're clear about why this is important to you, and that we're eliminating those bottlenecks, that at the end of our presentation, I'm going to show you how easily you can start with us to get things going so we can move ahead and execute on that plan. Is it okay if I ask you to commit to that at the end of our presentation?
Yeah. You've already got me sold.
So now,
yes.
So now I've told you that I'm going to ask you to buy in those words. I've also asked you to say, look, at the end of the day, if this plan works, I want to be able to show you how we work together so we can get started. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm asking you to make a decision on the call, not I want you to think about it, not I need to go somewhere else. Right. The only thing else that I need in this in this opportunity, Will, is I know that you might have a spouse or a partner. You're making a consideration on investing, on strategically growing your business. I need to, one, introduce myself to that person prior to our meeting, just so I can ask them questions as I've asked you questions, just to get clarity on what they're thinking of the business so we can make sure that we're all on the same page. And at the end of the day, I want that person also to have the opportunity in our planning meeting to be able to ask questions that are relevant to helping you and us work together to hit that objective and that outcome. So I just want to be super clear. Do you have a wife that's involved strategically making decisions in business? Do you have a business partner that should be there? It is really important for us to have everybody there, because I'm going to present a comprehensive solution that you will be able to ask questions directly from me to make sure that you're making the right decision in working together to hit that objective and the outcome you're looking for. So is it okay if do you have a partner we need involved in this process, Will, or do we have a spouse or a partner? If that person, what I need to do before we have our meeting and our planning session, I'd like to set up a call, quickly introduce myself, give them the opportunity to answer some of the questions that you've been answering today so that we can get their perspective on the plan and the vision, so that when we come together, that we are actually devising a strategy that is working towards the outcome you're looking for. Is it okay if we do that, Will? Is there anybody else that we need to bring into this conversation?
Absolutely. Yes. And that is gold. That is absolutely gold, because, you know, it's really funny. One of the things I did when we started working together was tracking the types of calls that I had and the success rate of those calls. And every single call where there was a partner involved, or there was someone else that had to come into the process, if they weren't on that call, that success rate drops so low. It's like, you know, about 10 to 20%. It's really, really low. And the reason is because now that person that I presented to, they've got to go and pitch my services, which they don't even really understand, to the business partner. And the business partner looks at the cost and goes, no, too expensive. So that's such a powerful way of bringing them on the call.
Yeah. So we need to make sure that everybody who's involved in the decision-making of the business from a strategy point of view, because we're looking at adding significant revenue to the business, and I would imagine that it would be important for them to be part of that process and understanding. So just I want to be professional here and to be fair, we need to give them the opportunity to be able to ask questions of me directly. And the reason we're putting this plan together is this plan is your plan. It's not our plan, it's your plan. Right? So we want to make sure that you're okay with the plan that you have decided to execute on. Right? So great. So here's what's going to happen on the next call. I'm going to go away. I'm going to do a little bit of homework. I'm going to do some research, put a plan together to make sure we hit that objective, to make sure we eliminate those roadblocks, to make sure that to have the resolve of why this is important. Now, I just need to have one more thing before I get off this call, because I just want to make sure that we maximize our time together. Is that this project, is this important to execute on now? Or is this something that you want to work on in time to come, months down the track? I need to know that if this is a now thing or if this is a later thing. If this is a now thing, then we should put this plan into place. If this is a later thing, then I'd like to set another time at a later date to actually talk about that. Because at the end of the day, there's no point in having conversation if you're not actually going to go forward. This will be a waste of your time in focusing on something that isn't important to your business right now. So I just want to be super clear. Is this a now thing or is this a later thing?
I love that.
Right? And then they go, this is a now thing. Now, the reason I'm asking this question is because when we sit down, I'm going to ask this question again when I walk through the one call close in a moment with you. I'm going to ask this question again. Remember, we spoke yesterday, the other day, you said, this is a now thing. Has anything changed? Right? Because I want to right up front, I want to make sure that we're clear that you said that, remember, I'm going to remind them, remember we talked about yesterday that if this is the right plan, that we're going to ask you on how we can work together, how we can implement this, and at the end of the day, how this thing pays for itself. Are we still okay with that? Right? And remember we talked about yesterday, this is a now thing or a later thing. Just thinking about the objective here and the project here, this is something that you need to do now, or is this something for consideration that you're going to leave later? Has anything changed? No, now is important, right? So two things, we're making a decision and now is important, right? Now, I just want to do one little preamble and then I'm going to we'll stop there and then you can ask me some questions about the setup, right? So one thing that you need to be really aware of here, the traditional way that most people sell is they get on a call, they get super excited, they say, great, let's have a strategy session. And that strategy session is, let me ask you a whole bunch of questions, let me write all that information down, let me go away and put together a proposal for you, and I'll come back and we'll send that proposal and then you can decide whether or not we work together. So you so this is the process. You spent time getting them to that point of having a conversation. Now you've asked all these questions. Now, in most cases, most people don't ask enough questions. That's what I find, right? So there's pieces of information missing. But what they're setting themselves up for is you go away and you have to spend 3 hours or 6 hours putting a proposal together. And then the last page has all the pricing on it. And then you email the proposal to them if you don't get the opportunity to present the proposal to them. So you email it to them. And then what they do is they mitigate the 16 pages or the 7 pages before and just go to the last page and they go, what am I buying here? They've lost all the sense of value in what you do. And this is this whole proposal game is what costs people sales. What I'm going to show you is how to speed this process up and do Shark Tank style. We're going to do Shark Tank style, right? Where we're going to do a pitch, a presentation. We're going to ask them to make an investment and we're going to show them how easy it is to get started, right? So I'm going to stop there before we get into sales mode. If you've got any questions right up to this point or things that you perhaps want to point out that are takeaways that people should be aware of, let's do that.
Yeah, look, there's a whole bunch of takeaways. I mean, every time we talk, John, I always pick up something and I always look back at my process and go, oh, here's where I've kind of dropped the ball and what you've shown and here's where I've got to narrow it back. But I think what you're going to go through in terms of walking them through that proposal together, that's been one of the most powerful things for me because every time you send, and you're exactly right, I've got software that tracks where people look at in terms of the proposals we send. Every time I send it without actually walking them through it, very last page, first page, second page, last page. And when that happens, they look at the price and they might even go to a competitor and go, well, how much are you guys charging? How much are you guys charging? Because in their mind, they don't understand that it's not a commodity that we're selling. It's a very customized solution and service, but they lose that understanding of the value in between, right? They just go, oh, holy crap, you're charging like 10 grand and he's only charging 6 grand. All right, 6 grand is cheaper than 10. I'll take him. And then they go for the process where, they don't get the results. They come back later on and then like they're jaded and it's just the wrong conversation to have. So I think that process saves a lot of pain for both sides. But the way that you frame the sales conversations before you even get into, I wouldn't even necessarily call them a sales conversation because it's literally you helping them with their plan. So the way that you do it, I think some of the biggest objections people get, price, timing, they get the partners coming through with the objections. People sometimes not tire kicking because I honestly don't believe people are tire kickers.
Yeah, people are exploring the idea, but that's not a sales opportunity. Somebody exploring an idea doesn't turn into a sale. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because they're exploring with you, they're exploring with somebody else, and they're exploring with somebody else, and by the time they explore, they're confused, right? Because they don't know what they don't know, and then they're going to think the only way I can make a decision is how much is it going to cost me, and what's the risk, right? This process that I've shared with you is a professional process in a very simple conversation. That you would, if you were helping a friend, this is how you'd help a friend. Tell me what's going on. Okay, so what do you want it to be? This. Why is that important to you? Why is this important that it has to look like this? Well, because I need this, this, and this, and this. Okay, so what's stopping you from getting this thing? Well, these things. Okay, so if we let's work together, put together a little bit of plan so you can see the path to getting that outcome. It's no different to you trying to help out a friend who needs help, right? What's going on? What has to happen? Why is that important? What's not happening right now that's not giving you the thing that has to happen, right? Okay, so let's look at how do we minimize the impact of that, or maybe let's look at what it should really look like so that you can hit that outcome. And then let's do that, right? So all we're doing is we're having a friendly relationship. This is one thing, and I know this might be a little bit woo-woo, but I think woo-woo is important sometimes because we are human beings and we have feelings, we have an understanding and those sorts of things. So one of the things, and I can't remember who taught me this. I wish I could give them the kudos. But one of the things they said that before they went into a meeting with a prospective customer is they just stood there in their moment and in their mind's eye embraced the customer in a hug as if they were a family member, right? I want to help you because you are part of the family. And it's just a mind thing, a little thing. So you go in, when you go into that meeting, you shake that person's hand, you're shaking that person's hand as if you're treating them like family, a friend. It's a completely different energy, right? It's a completely different energy. Yeah. So this process that I'm showing you is, I really want to help you, right? I really want to help you. I help the people that I care about. Right? And that's the way I want to frame it. I want to work with you because you care enough about what you want to achieve. And because you care enough, I want to help you, right? Because I care about that too. So that's the philosophy that you want to come in with. That's my woo-woo moment for the minute to come in with. To help people.
I'll just jump in quickly because that brings up something that I want to share as well. And it's really funny because I think the way you approach sales was the perfect fit for me because I had so one of my clients, they're really good at looking at personalities and brandings and things like that, and they did like a personality profile on me, which is kind of interesting. And I came through as a friend, right, as a campaigner. And so a lot of the times when I talk to clients, I go and I say, hey mate, it's Aussie term for friend. I'm like, hey mate, how you going? And a lot of the time in traditional sales environments, or the way they teach it traditionally, it's like, don't call them mate. They're not your friend, they're adversaries. But the way that you approach it, it's like, they are actually your friends. Like, you've got to like working with them because you're going to be working with them for a while. It's a relationship.
Yeah, you got to like each other.
Yeah, exactly.
When they pay you money, that's the engagement ring on your finger. Right, where you're in a new relationship, you're married to them when they pay you money. But yeah, so you're right. That's just me. It's like I want to think that, hey, I want to help you. I really want to work with you. I want to find a way that we can work together to make it easy for you. And at the end of the day, both of us are going to profit from this, right? You are going to get the result you're looking for. I'm going to be working somebody to help get results, which is going to be awesome. And we're getting the value that we are getting for that, for our time and for our execution of our plan, right? So we've done the qualification. We've done the setup of the plan. Now we're going to go away. Now in our planning, there is some discovery. We need to ask questions about what's going on, how they do business. The more you know about the people that you're working with, the easier it is for them to say yes to you because you've taken this interest. In Breakthrough, in the physical therapy agency, about 2 years ago, we sent our customer success people to talk to every single client. We had over 100 clients we were working with, and we got our customer success people to fly to their destination to go and talk and record a 1.5 hour interview where we asked about 60 questions. And those 60 questions were conversational. But here's what came up, and this is one of the things that really struck a chord with me, because I listened to every conversation. We listened to every freaking, it was 100 hours, nearly 300 hours of audio to listen to. But this one thing rang through the whole thing that really struck a chord with me, and I understood why it was important. Because one of the questions we asked is, look, you could go and, there are a whole bunch of people in Facebook that have been approaching you saying, we can get you patients, we can get you leads, we can do all that sort of stuff. And some of those people might have been really good. Some of those people might in fact be better than us at doing that. But my question to you is, you chose to hire us and you didn't choose to hire them. Why didn't you hire them? Because they came way before we did. And some of those people probably knew what they were doing, and some of them were probably better than what we were. Why didn't you hire them? And this is what came out as to why they didn't hire them. They would have hired them, but for one thing. The one thing is, we didn't really feel like they understood our business. They were more interested in talking about getting patients for our business without even understanding what that means, what a patient goes through, how that works for us, how we bring that in. If you don't understand my business, how the hell do I believe that you can help me, right? So this is why when you're asking questions and in your discovery, you really want to understand what's going on. Now, there's this hidden website in the world. Nobody can find this website, by the way. It is the most secret. I'm going to give all of you. It is the most secret website in the world. For some people, it's the reason why it's so secret. It's just freaking such an odd word to type in. It's GOOLG, right, or DOOGLE.com. I think that's the website I'm talking about. Google, right? Google is the oracle. Google is an oracle, right? We can ask Google a question, it'll give us an answer. So we can sit there if we need to find out what the average spend of a client is in a particular marketplace. Let's say we're choosing architects to work with. I can tell you, because I've done this search, I've said, how much do architects get paid for their services? And it says, well, on average, an architect, a low ball pricing, $150 an hour or 5% of the project. So if it's a $1 million project, they get paid $50,000. If it's a $10 million project, they get paid $500,000. So I can go to any architect and say, look, your average client's going to roughly be 5% of the build spend. And if we look at the average clients you're doing work for, roughly what is the average build spend? And I'll say, well, the average build is about $1 million. So great. So average clients use worth about 50 grand. Yep. And they go, yep. How did you know that? Google it, right? How you need to understand your clients. The more you understand about how they do business, who their customers are, why their customers buy, how they buy, how long their customers stay, what is their sales process, how do I help a customer from the initial engagement to the purchasing engagement, how do they acquire that customer, where do they get that customer from, what are the objections the customer has to their product or service, why does the customer buy them instead of going somewhere else? The more you understand these things about business and you can pre-understand. I always say, if you want to be an expert in a niche market, just work with one client and know as much as you can about that one client. And that'll pretty much tell you about what the rest of the industry is doing exactly the same, because that's how the industry works. People in the same industry do exactly the same thing or similar things. You just need to understand one client, then you understand the niche. Or you need to work with one client, help them get the result, take that time to build that relationship so you understand how their business works, and that will allow you to go and spread through a niche market, right? So big question, discovery, know what you need to know, not what you think you need to know what you need to know to be able to help them to hit the objective that they said that they want as an outcome. So you want to ask as many questions as possible. A couple of ways to do this. I like to do this face-to-face, because then you can ask deeper questions face-to-face. Or if you're really lazy, you can put the questions on a form, on a Woo form, send the questions to them, they fill in the Woo form, then you get on a call and you clarify the questions. That's the lazy way of doing it, but it's a two-step rather than one step. One step, can I sit down? I just want to be very clear and understand what's going on so that we can devise a plan that's going to give you exactly what you're looking for as the outcome. So is it okay if we spend a little bit of time asking some questions specifically? And you can literally just read off all your questions that you have to ask to get everything that you need to know so that they understand that you understand what's going on. And that time also, it's really important, Will, because that time is more time to build a relationship. That's what's critical here. We're trying to get people to spend sometimes tens of thousands of dollars with us. That is not going to happen on one conversation, right? They need to know, like, and trust you. You're going to have to do. Some of my champions, Cam, had a client, $100,000 client. It took 6 weeks in the relationship process for the client to say yes to the deal. Now get this, there was no monthly payment plan. It was $100,000 up front, right? So week 7, he gets a $100,000 check deposited in his bank account, right? Because he built that, answered all the questions over that period. The client went, yep, this is what we need to do. Great. What do I got to do to get this thing going? Now, normally what Cam would have said, well, it's going to cost you $8,000 a month, $8,000 deposit and $8,000 every 30 days. And I said to him, hey, you know what? Why don't you just offer for them to pay the whole thing up front, right? I mean, the work's not going to change, but it might make it easy for them. So he provided them with an incentive and they deposited $108,000 cash in the bank the next day, right? So what you offer, we're asking people to spend money with us. If you're asking people to spend more than $10,000 with you, they're going to need some things from you to trust you to be able to give you that money, right? So that's really important in that question phase. You're getting to know them, build that relationship. This could be your first client ever. Because you're actually taking this time to build that relationship, it doesn't matter. Some people say, but what if they say that I don't want to be the guinea pig? They're not going to be the guinea pig. You're working on a plan that they said they wanted to work on, and you're the person showing up to help them with the plan. So at the end of the day, where else are they going to go, right? It's your plan and their plan together, yeah? So this is, I know, and this, by the way, we talk about building confidence. Confidence comes from experience. There's a guy called Frankie Williams, who is a car salesman at a Chevrolet dealership, biggest Chevrolet dealership in Las Vegas. This dude sells about 7 or 8 cars a day. 7 or 8 cars a day. And this is what Frankie said to me when I met him. Frankie said, dude, if I don't fail at least 25 to 30 times a day, I don't sell 5 to 7 cars a day. I have to fail 30 times a day to go and sell those 5 to 7 cars, right? So if I'm not talking, if I'm not getting no's all the time, if I'm not getting rejected, I don't get to grow. I don't get to experience. You need to, one of my favorite TED Talks is a guy called Jai Jiang. It's rejection training. I would highly recommend everybody go to TED, Jai, Jaiang, Jai Jiang. Fantastic 15-minute talk on rejection. Best talk ever, because he says something that's really important. When somebody said no to him, he would ask the question, why did you say no to me? Right? And they will say to him, well, I don't know who you are. I need to know you a little bit better to be able to say yes to you. Or they said, this is too hard for me to say yes to because you're asking too much up front, right? Or they would say, well, this isn't for me, but I do know somebody who this is for. So you're talking to the wrong person. Why, right? So don't worry about being rejected, because if you're going to be successful, you're going to be rejected a lot, right? You want to be successful what you do, you want to get rejected a lot. I get rejected a lot, right?
This is such a powerful point. I mean, and especially like for me, when I first started, I was so uncomfortable with getting rejected. And I think, the way that we work, it took me so long to actually get started. But once I got started, once I got over that hump, and for me, it felt like things happened so quickly. So it's just that initial part where it's going to suck. You're going to have to, eat dirt every single freaking day of the week. Just get up and do it. And it's easier said than done, but
sometimes you're not going to eat dirt. Sometimes somebody's going to go, hey, you've come to me at the right time. Hey, you're interesting. You're asking interesting questions. Hey, I've never thought about this, but you're going to get those moments, right? With people. But remember, I talked about that whole filtering process at the beginning. That's going to make this a whole lot easier. So the only person you're sitting down in front of is somebody who's seriously considering buying what you have to offer, right? Perfect. So let's go into the close. Let's go into the sales, the sale and the close. It's a really easy structure that anybody can follow, right? So there's a couple of things we want to do right up front where we're sitting now. So, hey, super excited about this plan, Will. And thank you for spending that time and explaining to me exactly what you're looking for, exactly where the business is going. That's awesome. So I just want to be really clear with you. Remember we spoke the other day saying, look, at the end of the day, if we can come together and this is the right plan for you, then I'm going to ask you to engage me to execute on that plan. Is that okay that at the end of this presentation, we've answered all your questions? If we can show you how we can execute, that we can work together, is it okay if we make that consideration today?
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Now, remember we talked about this is a now thing or a later thing. I just want to be super clear that this plan is something you want to achieve. This outcome objective is something you want to work on right now. Has anything changed?
Nope. Still right now.
Awesome. Great. So now we're talking about the plan that we're going to deliver for you now. So one other thing. Look, I know this is not your first dog and pony show. We've been to a presentation before. At any time, if you feel that this isn't for you, Will, I'd like you to say no. We can call it quits, still say friends, because ultimately I want to make sure that this time is valuable to you. So is it okay that you can say no to me at any time through the presentation? Is that all right with you?
Yep, I do. And I love that frame. It just gives them an out.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, if I feel at any time that we're not the right fit, that I can say no and we can part friends. We cool?
Yep.
Right? You're going to go, yeah, we're cool. So you've got an out and I've got an out. I've asked you to make a decision. You said, yes, I'll make a decision. However, at any time here, not for you, you can call it time. Okay. So I want to take the air out of like, oh man, I'm going to have to buy something at the end of this. Somebody's going to do something. Whoever says yes is going to pull out their credit card. You want to take out all the expectation, the air, to allow them to say, I want you to say no, right? So there's 3 questions that I have to answer here, right? Why this? Why me? Why now? Why is this so important? Why is this idea for you so important? Why me? Like, you could be sitting down with a whole bunch of other people. Why have you chosen to walk through this process with me? And why is this ultimately very paramount important for you right now? I need you to answer those questions. I need to have that conversation very briefly, because I'm going to ask those questions and take some notes while you're answering those questions, because that's going to help me help you get started, because you're telling me what's happening is in their head, they're going, this is really important because we're sitting down for the first time looking at an actual strategy to hit and execute on this outcome, right? The second thing that we're doing here is the reason we're sitting down with you is you've come to us and devised a plan. You've been professional. You've actually understood where we're heading. So this is why we're talking to you right now, Will. And why now? Well, right now, plan B is to keep doing what we're doing, hit our head against the wall, worry about all those bottlenecks. It's not giving what we know. We need to do this, right? So whilst they're telling me this, I'm writing this down. We need to do this. This is why we need to do this. This is why we need to do this with you. This is why this is important right now. As I'm writing all these things down, saying, I just want to be clear, right? Great. So now we've got that out and say, great. So here's what's going to happen. Let me walk you through exactly how this plan is going to work. So this is your demonstration. So like any presentation, you're going to demonstrate what you do. If you're doing AdWords, you're going to show, right, well, we're going to do our research, our homework. This is the market. This is what's happening right now. We're going to talk about converting, not just generating leads. We want to convert them. So we have a methodology, a landing page that actually converts those appointment opportunities to conversations with you. Then we have a sequence to make sure that those conversations are booked. So we actually make sure they show up for you. And then we have a follow-up sequence after that for you if you chose to do so, that will nurture that sales opportunity. And now we have that client in a database for you. So we have a complete lead generation system working for you. So that's essentially how the system is going to solve your problem. We're going to target, engage, monitor, measure, and deliver the result. So now you just want to be very clear. Are you cool about that plan? Right?
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
You like that idea, you call it that, you see how we can get those numbers, your objective, right? So we're tying this, your objective is to achieve that $600,000. We need to bring you 2 clients a month. To get you 2 clients a month, we've probably got to engage about 30, 40 people in the marketplace to filter those down into 10 people to sit down with you, to 2 people to become clients, and then you hit that outcome over and above what you're doing. That's the plan, right? Now, before I go ahead, any questions on the plan? You like the idea? Does that work for you? Can you see how this is going to happen? Yep. Great. So right now, where do you think we should go to from here, Will?
I love that question. It's like, well, what's the cost? What's the investment?
Okay, so let me share with you investment. But before I share the investment, so what happens when you ask that question? This is an old Sandler School question for those who are into sales geeky stuff. But in the Sandler School, the reason by the way, this question you're asking is probably the most deadly question you'll ever hear. My mentor, Taki Moore, asked me this question when I bought into his coaching program. He reminded me of this terminology, but it's an old Sandler. So when you say, where do you think you should go to from here? The person's going to lean in. Like you're going to shut up and they might sit and say, well, I don't know, you tell me, right? They're going to go, you tell me. Oh, great. So look, is it okay if I walk you through how we work together to execute the plan? I'm not going to do the money right now. Is it okay if I walk you through how we work together, right? Before we do that, most people we talk to say yes to this part of our process. But ultimately what I want to share with you is a couple of people that have said yes, not only to this program, but more importantly to the result. So if I can walk you through very quickly about some of the results we're getting by executing on this plan. Here's Mary, here's Joe, here's Sue. Mary says, best thing I ever did in my life, we made $500,000 in 10 days. Joe says, look, before this, we had no predictable way of generating clients. This has been a game changer for us. It's been amazing. It is generating an extra, 30, 40, 50 grand a month in sales. Tom says, before we did this, we worked with a whole bunch of agencies that burned the crap out of us. Will, for the first time, really understood our business, really helped us with a plan, the execution, the follow through, and we're getting this result. This is what they said yes to, right? Now I'm going to ask you, all right, where do you think we should go to from here, Will?
Well, how does it work? How does
all right, so let's go. Now in that moment, you're going to say, how much is it going to cost me, right? Yeah. So walk you through it. Like, what's in there? I've told you how does it work. I told you that it works. I showed you how it works. I showed you how we work together, right? So I'm going to walk through. This is what we're going to do. We have an agreement, right? We have a process. I'm going to make sure we go through those inclusions, and we have the investment to the program. So is it okay, Will, if I walk you through your investment in this program?
Sure.
Right. So this program, $600,000 outcome we're looking for. We're looking, as part of the strategy, the development of the process, we want to make it really easy for you to budget for this, to have this in line with what you're doing. You've got a couple of options here. We have Plan A. Plan A gives you the bare bones of a structure. The investment in that plan is $60,000. We can break that plan up into installments, on monthly installments, to manage your budget. So it works out at $6,000 a month, but we do require a $10,000 upfront installment so we can actually develop the assets, put the program, and onboard you correctly so we can develop this strategy. That's the first option. The second option, a little bit more comprehensive. This option is a $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year. Now, in this program, we not only do the standardization of the outcome objective looking for the leads, but in this program, what we're going to do is we're going to capitalize on that relationship so we can maximize sales for the long term as well. So not only are we going to get the initial sales opportunities, but we're actually going to go and make sure we get these sales opportunities throughout all the leads that we generate for your business, because ultimately not everybody's going to buy today. Some of those people are going to buy next month and the month after and the month after. 30% of the people that we will generate from the market that we re-engage will come back and buy. This will more than double the return on your investment in this program, right? So the investment in this program is 10K down, 10K a month. Now, of the two, which do you believe suits you best, Will?
Well, let's do the second option.
I want the second option. Now, you notice that I didn't say buy this program, right? I said I gave you a yes or a yes option. I didn't give you a yes or a no option. I just, of these two plans, which of these do you believe will help you get where you want to go to the most? And you went plan number 2. Great. Will, remember at the beginning of this presentation, I asked you that if you like this plan and you like how this is going to work and we can show you that we would work together. Is it okay if I walk you through our agreement to work together?
Yeah, sure.
Great. So right now in your inbox, you can open up your inbox and there's an agreement. And it says this project for your company. By the way, for those of you listening, you're going to preset this up into things like DocuSign, Panda. You can do. There's free. HelloSign is free. You can actually set up a standard agreement. This is a list of inclusions of our services. This is what we're going to do for you, Will. We're going to set up the templates and the processes for you. We're going to do all the copywriting. We're going to do the creative for you. Then we're going to launch and manage the campaign. We're going to optimize that campaign. Those are the things we're going to do in our initial setup. So this is the list of inclusions. Now, month to month, we actually be monitoring these campaigns on a daily, if not multi-time during the day, to maximize your investment in this campaign. These are the things we're going to do for you, and we will sign off on those things right here. Now, what we want you to do is, what we need you to do is, we're going to bring you customers, and we want to make sure that you follow through and help those people buy. Because the only people we can give you, Will, are the people who are actually putting up their hand saying, I'm interested in what you have to offer. So we want to make sure that those people get every opportunity to make the investment in your services. What I need you to do is that you are going to follow up those leads, that you are going to report on the results of that follow-up, and you're going to do that in a timely fashion. Can I ask you to agree to do that, Will?
Yes.
Right? You sign the agreement here. Right. Now, we've got a couple of options here in the payment. We said, you said that the program you want is the $10,000 down, $10,000 a month. It's $130,000. If you choose to, you can save $10,000 right now, save the upfront cost, and 120 grand you can pay up front, and we can take care of the whole thing for you. Would you like the payment plan, or would you like the saving of the $10,000? Which would you prefer?
Yeah, perfect. Hey, John, I've got a quick question for you.
So some people are going to go, oh, I'm happy to pay up front. Oh, I can pay up front. I'll pay up front. Anybody that's going to pay you $120,000, or people, if you're going to quote 120 grand deal to anybody, Will, those people are used to paying big dollars for their services. So when you say one flat fee, right? I know that's the extreme. Like most people here might not be doing $100,000 deals. You might be doing a $20,000 or a $30,000. It's the same thing. Let's say if we picked a lesser option and we picked the $36,000, $3,000 much option, right? So some people want to take care of this right up front, Will. So you can take the payment plan of $6,000 down and $3,000 a month, or some people want to save some money. Why don't we save you that $6,000 and you can pay us $30,000 and we can get this thing started. Which would you prefer?
Yeah, perfect. And that actually really helps depending on timing as well. Because if it's coming up to tax season, people might actually want to be looking to spend money. So they might be like, okay, sweet, I can write this off next year. So why not do it now?
Exactly. So give people the option to pay up front, Will.
Perfect. Hey, John, I've got a quick question for you as well. And I know that, throughout the whole process, you've pre-framed it really, really well in terms of cost and investment. But what happens if someone still comes back and goes, look, that's actually still more than I thought it would be?
Okay, so let's look at that. So can I handle, there's 2 objections that happen. 1, I've got to think about it, and 2, this is expensive. So I will handle those 2 objections at the end of we're in the close part, walking through the agreement, right? So we're walking through the agreement. So what normally would happen is people will say, yep, we want to do this. And I'll say, great, send us the agreement and send us the invoice. And then we wait. We wait for the agreement to come back to us. We wait for them to pay the invoice. Because after they got off the call, there's no sense of urgency. Right? Like, it's like, okay, we did this. Okay, we're going to do this. And it's like, oh shit, the fires are coming. Oh, we're going to put that off for another week. We're going to put that off for another week. No, we want to do the agreement. Remember, this is the one call close, right? Yeah, you said this is your plan. I guess the only thing we've got to do is get started. Yes, right? That's what we're getting to here. The only thing we've got to do is say, look, this, you said, remember, this is, you said, yeah, we need to do this right now. We don't have a plan B, right? Has anything changed? No, we want to do this, right? Okay, so let's walk through the agreement. You sign, I sign, great. Now, I always, this is the trick, the funny that I always pull with people. Say, listen, I know a lot of people, you know, they use credit cards. Pick the credit card that gets you the most frequent flyer points. You might as well get a double bang for the savings with frequent flyer points. So if it's the Amex or the Visa or whatever it is, pick the one that gets you the most frequent flyer points. And they go, oh yeah, haha, I'll use the Amex or I'll use the Visa, right? Great. So you take the credit card and you take the payment up front. You take the payment up front, right?
That's
okay.
Right.
So because you always want to take the credit card, you want to take a deposit, right? So now if you've agreed to this, this will close out the sale, right? So if they've agreed the agreement, great, we're in. Great, we've got a deposit. Now we're going, hey, congratulations, we're working together on this plan. That's awesome. Now, Will, I have one more question to ask you, and it's really important. Is there any reason why you would change your mind on this plan? Is there anything that would stop you from moving ahead? Is there any reason why you would change your mind on this plan that we've put together to hit that outcome and hit that objective? Is there anything that would change your mind?
If it works the way you say it will, not really.
No, people said, no, I'm ready, right? I'm in, you know, I'm ready. No, I'm not going to change my mind, right? I'm just making sure I'm trying to eliminate any buyer's remorse. Like I've just committed to a whole bunch of money. I've done this very, very quickly. I just want to make sure that, look, at the end of the day, you know, I want to be fair here. Is there anything that would you know, are you in or will you change your mind, right? Are you in or will you change your mind? And they go, I'm in, right? Great, awesome. So I need them to vocalize that in their head, right? I've made the decision, I'm in. Now, 10 minutes after you get off the call with me, Will, by the way, this way that we've done the presentation, what I'm suggesting you do is do a presentation on slide deck, do it on Zoom, do this on calls, do it on Zoom, do it on Skype, so you can eyeball, see the person with you on the call, right? So I'm going to handle objections in just a second. We've got an agreement. 10 minutes after the call, this is what I would do. I would literally get my iPhone out and I would put the video on and I would say, hey, Will, I just want to say thank you so much for trusting us. We are so excited about working on your project. We're going to get our team together, getting this up and running. We've got Anne reaching out to you, who's going to do the onboarding process. Again, I just wanted to briefly say thank you. Really appreciate the fact that you're trusting us. We're really going to do everything we can to make sure we're going to blow this out of the park and get you outstanding results. Thanks again for being one of our new clients. Right? Send the video.
That's awesome.
Right? Nobody says thank you. Send the video 10 minutes after. It's like pick up your phone, hit video message, hey, right? You know, and by the way, I've done it. Like I've you know, been on calls and stuff like that. I've actually done this where I've just been walking on the street, or I've done this where I've you know, pulled over the car and said, hey, I just want to pull over and say thank you for being client. People get blown away by the fact that you've sent that message, right? Now, the other thing you want to do, if somebody becomes a customer and they're paying you money, go and send them something to say thank you. At least send them a thank you card to say thank you for being a customer. Really appreciate you come on board. Send them a couple of $5 Starbucks cards that they can give their staff for coffee. Do something like that. Make sure you send something in the mail to say thank you for being a customer. Really appreciate you coming on board. We're really looking forward to working with you. Send them a thank you card, personal handwritten note, a couple of Starbucks coffee things, hey, for your team, right? Send them a book, $20, send them a book and say, hey, look, I thought about you. One of the things I want to do is I really appreciate the fact you've chosen us, and I just want to say thank you sincerely. Thank people for becoming customers. And the idea is you want those customers to stay as long as possible, and you want to create an emotional connection between you and the customer. So,
yeah, John, that's such a great point. And just before we jump into the two objections and wrap up, that's one of the things that you told me very early on that we still do. And we send a really nice, curated gift box of wine and cheese and chocolates and stuff like that, and a handwritten thank you note. And from that one thing, we've actually gotten a lot of referrals because people look at it and go, wow, this is amazing. They put it on social media. They go, and people ask them, what's this for? And they're like, oh, this new marketing agency that we're working with, they sent us this stuff. And they're already getting us some pretty good results. And people go, oh, can you pass me through to them?
Yeah, it's a great way to get referrals. It's a great way to make people feel like they've actually made the right decision to work with people who actually care. It is a very simple thing to do. Yeah. So you want to have that in your system because customer indoctrination and customer retention is something that's really important. It's something we talk about at Consulting Unleashed in our champions group. It's important to be able to scale your business through having great relationships with customers. So let's deal with the two the two terrible death closes, right? Well, the first one is I need to think about it, right? I need to think about it, yeah? Like the money's okay, but I just need to think about this. So this is how you handle it. Remember I talked about you got all the partners in on the call on the Zoom and everybody's on the Zoom, right?
Yep.
Here's what I say, you know what? I just want to be super, super clear because I understand it's really important to make this consideration, right? Now, has the objective changed? Are we okay with the objective? Are we okay why you said this was important to you, right? Are you okay that we've eliminated the bottlenecks? Are you okay with the program that we set out, this plan that we put together? And we say, are you okay with those sorts of things, right? Great. Yep. So I guess the next thing to do would be to execute on plan A, yes?
Yep.
Right? And you shut up, right? You've asked again, are we okay? We cool? The program, the price, everything cool? Is that okay? Yes, yes, yes. Great. So what do you think we should do here?
Yep,
and I'll say, oh, yeah, right, I'll get started, okay? Because you're clarifying all the things that they're thinking about. Remember, we talked about this, and this is great. Has anything changed? Remember, now thing, not a now thing? Has anything changed? No. Yeah, look, yeah, okay, we should do this, right? Now, sometimes it's going to be about if they need to think about it, right? They do need to generally think about it. So look, I'll tell you what, we're on Zoom. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to take my camera off. I need a bathroom break for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go grab a coffee. Whilst I'm taking that break, you can have a quick discussion on whatever you need, and then I can come back here, and then you can tell me whether or not we can do this. Is that okay with you?
That's really.
So now I'm going to ask them to do the conversation in the moment because we're here, we're talking about it. We might as well answer those questions. You might as well have that conversation together. I know that we can do what we can do and we'd love to work with you, but you need to be sure. So I'll let you talk about it and I'll go away. So I turn my camera off, I turn my audio off, and guess what? They start talking about it because I can still see their camera, right? They can't see me, but I can see them. So they're like talking to each other and they're like, yeah, do you think we should do this? And they go, yeah, do you think we should do this? And they go, yeah, I think we should do it. I think it's a good plan. It makes a lot of sense. Like you can, see this conversation going, but I can't hear it, right? All is I'm muted, right? And so I've just stepped back. I'm still there. I haven't gone anywhere. Right? I'm just letting them have that moment, right? And so then I sit there and I look at each other and go, you think we should do this? Yeah, we should do this. Great. And so then I hop on and say, hey guys, back again. How you doing? So look, we've got a plan. We've got an objective and we've got a way to get that executed as quickly as possible. I guess my question is, should we go ahead and implement this plan A? And they'll go, yes. Right? Now, if they really, really need to think about it, okay, you need to, just from the point of view, let them have that moment to think about it, right? Let them have the moment to think about it, but you want to be following up within 24 hours. 24 to 48 hours, no longer than 48 hours. Anything after 48 hours, you're a dead duck because 75% of everything they learned from you is going to go because they got back in the business. So I say, look, I'll tell you what, I understand you've got to have that time and I appreciate that. I'm happy to do that. Can I call you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Which would suit you best? I'm going to schedule this in right now. You've got your calendar out? What's the best time for you? Oh, call me at 10 o'clock. Great. I'll call you at 10 o'clock. You take control. You don't sit there and say, I'll call you tomorrow. You pick a time. I'm looking at my calendar here. I've got between 10 and I've got a moment at 3. Which would suit you best? The 10 a.m. or the 3 p.m.? The 10 a.m. Great. I'm going to lock that in right now. I'm going to send you an email. Make sure you put that in your calendar. I will see you at 10 o'clock. Right? Not, oh, can you call me tomorrow? No. Give me a time. Let's lock it in. I'll be showing up at that time. Professional. Be professional, yeah. Right? Right? So we want to do that. So then you can call at that time. And when you follow up with a phone call, you got to sit there and say, hey, and between then I generally will send an email to say, hey, really love this plan, really love what we're talking about. We're really interested in going ahead and actually putting this objective. Here's some of those things that we discussed very briefly, and shoot an email before you follow up so that they're reminded of what they're saying yes to, right? You said this was important. You said this was your objective. You said there's nothing else that you're doing that's working right now. You said this is important to you right now. We are the people that I want to help you hit that objective, hit that outcome, right? So you follow up and say, look, I guess I just want to be clear. Great. Where do you think we should go to from here, Will?
There's only one answer.
And they're going to go, I think we should do this, right? Okay. So that would be the ideal scenario, 24, 48 hours. Now, that's the I think about it close, right? Now, really, I think about it is money. Money is the objection, right? It's not sorry, by the way, let's reframe that. It's not an objection, it's a consideration, right? They're considering investing this money in you. What's the alternative? right?
Hey, John, just before we get into that, I want to be completely respectful of your time. I really appreciate everything that you've done so far, and I know I only booked an hour with you, but are you okay to keep going for a little bit longer, or do you want to reschedule? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I can go as long as you want. I can go as long as you want.
Awesome.
Right? So you can edit this or cut this up. We can do this. So yeah. So the next part of the close is the money issue. The money is an issue. It's going to be money, right? There's always going to be money. So this is how I handle the money issue, right? So if we sit there and have gone through and clarified, like, okay, we need to think about this, and we've gone through projects right, programs right, plans right, everything okay. Where do you think we should go to from here? We need to make some considerations, right? So I'm going to say, look, level with me. It's about the money, isn't it? Right? You're thinking, that this is something that might stretch you, or you've got to build this in your budget. It's about the money. Level with me. It's about the money. Yes? Right. So let me just ask you this question. And for those of you who are listening to this, I want you to listen really closely, because this question is going to make the sale for you, right? This question is going to make the sale for you. So it's a money thing. So what you're going to say is, look, let's just put the money aside for a moment. Let's just put it aside, right? At the end of the day, is there anything other than the amount investing that is going to stop you from implementing this plan? Other than money, is there anything, are you all in on the plan or not on the plan? Is there anything other than money that will stop you from doing that? And they're going to go, no, John, it's the money thing. But if they say, no, it's just the money, in that moment, when they've said that, they have bought your plan.
Right.
In that moment, saying it's just like, if we can sort out the money thing, we're in. That's what they're telling you, right? The plan is, we want this plan. We want this program. We want this plan. Great. So now we're going to bring the money back on the table, right? So, okay, so let's sort out the money thing, right? Now we asked you for initial deposit of $10,000. Instead of $10,000, what would you like to, I'm going to make flexible here. What would you like to make the deposit, the initial installment? What would you like it to be?
Say 5, right?
5, great. So if we take $5,000, can we put the other $5,000 on top of the first bill in 30 days? Is that okay with you?
Let's split it.
Let's split it.
Right.
Great.
Yep.
So let's split it over to the next day. So now we've got a sale. Great. Let's get that started. Let's take the $5,000, right? That's one way to do it. Or you might sit there and say, look, I'll tell you what, let's make it easy for you. Deposit 30% of the initial installment down now, and we'll break it up into another 2 payments on the next over the next 3 months. Over the next 3 months, we're going to be executing this plan. This thing is going to be paying for itself already by that stage. So this isn't going to be a pressure thing. So would you like to go ahead with that plan?
Yeah, when you put it like that, absolutely.
Right, great. So let's do it. So now we've got a sale. We're not letting the person go. Some people will sit there and say, so I don't recommend you do this, because this is how you can really screw up a sale. Some people say, look, I'll tell you what, if you decide to come on board today, we'll bypass the onboarding fee, right? So you're telling the person that you want to give away $3,000 or $10,000. It's not that important. Like, we'll give it away. We'll do it at our expense as long as you sign up right now, right? Which sounds like a good deal, and it's an obvious deal. You don't have to give away the store. They still are going to pay the full amount, even if you break it up, right? Because this is what the deal is, right? If you want to make it cheaper, then let's look at pulling out things from the plan, because then we can make it cheaper. Let's not do any automated follow-up. So let's minimize our conversions, drop the conversions down by about 50%. We'll just take out that whole automation and follow-up thing. That'll save you about $700 a month. So you want to take that out?
Of course not, right?
They're going, no, I want that in, right? No way, I want that in. Okay, right? So if you're going to reduce things, well, let's look at the things we can take out of this plan so we can reduce the investment, right? And they're going to go, no, we want that thing. So they're going to go, no, right? Because sometimes it's just helping people. All you got to do is help people to think about, like at the end of the day, Will, you said to me, we're going to go for $600,000 worth of revenue. We're talking about 2 clients a month. We're talking about bringing you 30 opportunities. Are you telling me that you can't get 2 deals over the line with 30 opportunities? Is that what you're saying to me?
Of course not, right?
Right? I wanted to make this a no-brainer for you. How is that a no-brainer? Like, this thing is going to cost you 1 customer per month. I'm going to bring you a minimum of 2 brand new ones on top of that every single month. If you gave me 1 and I gave you 3, is that a good deal?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you gave me 1 and I gave you 5, is that a good deal?
Oh yeah, of course it is, right?
Yeah. So can we play that casino game? You give me 1, I give you 3 to 5, right? Yeah. That's like standing in front of a slot machine. right? Remember, I said this is an investment in your program. This is a program.
Hey, John, I think I just lost you for...
No, nothing's changed. Yeah,
there we go. You're back.
I'm here.
You're back.
Yeah. So, first world problems, the internet. So yeah, again, if you go back to the plan, like this is what, right now we said that this is what you want to do. This is the outcome you want to do. Here's the investment to hit that outcome. At the end of the day, we need one customer. We need half a customer to pay for this thing. Half, right now you don't have a plan. Now we have a plan that if we follow through, we're going to get more than one customer. We're going to open up an opportunity where we're bringing 30 to 50 new opportunities every single month. Some of those opportunities, we're going to build a relationship so they can purchase and become customers, which is ultimately what you want. You want a system, a process, and the ability to see the results in your bank account.
Perfect. And John, I'll just make one quick point on... Yeah, that's perfect. I'll just make one quick point as well in terms of the discounting, because I think, again, that's something that you taught me very early on. And one of the things that I've noticed was every time that we've mentioned discounting, I think it just reduces the value and the belief that we've got in our own products. So that happens for ourselves internally, and I think that happens for the people that we're talking to and helping as well, because they're thinking, well, why are you so quick to discount what you're doing?
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm paying a premium that I shouldn't even be paying in the first place?
I was talking to a consultant the other day. They were doing a 15 grand deal per month on the 15 grand. And they turned around and said, you know what, for the first 3 months, why don't we do 8 grand a month? And on the 4th month, we can bring it up to 15. And the client said, you're going to deliver the same service for 8 grand a month. You're discounting by 7,000. So why am I paying 15 grand? So immediately that raised the doubt on the price. Like you went from 15 to 8 for the same service for 3 months. So you can afford to do this, right, and make money at 8 grand. Why am I paying 15? That was the doubt they put in the mind. Yeah. That was where they lost the sale. The client went, I don't believe you. Like, or hang on a second, that doesn't sound right. You're ripping me off, right? Yeah. That's where they lost that sale. They could have had that sale, right, if they just structured the deal in a way to make it easy. Like, okay, look, let's make this easy for you. How would you like to pay for this thing, right? Let's work together on a plan that suits you to get this moving. And they still would have got their 15 grand a month. They still would have got a 180 grand deal, right? But because the salesperson got desperate and said, you know what, let's do this. 3 months, 8 grand, drop the price by 7. You're going to save $21,000 now. And then we can continue on 15 grand a month after that, after month 3. And it's like, and in my head, I'm going, I would be doing the same thing. Well, hang on a second. You can afford to do the same thing for 8 grand. Why are we paying 15? Yeah. Right. So you put doubt. So whenever you discount, you're taking money out of your back pocket too. You're not taking money out of their back pocket. You are literally taking that cash out of your pocket. And it's too easy, like because you don't have it, it's in the air and you don't have it in your pocket right now. It's too easy to negate that 3 or negate that $5,000. Always have an initial setup fee. Always. Because it takes time to put things into place. You're not just going to go, there's the product, right? You're going to go, great, we need to integrate. We need to put some things in place. We need to map things out. That's cost. That's time. That's people. That's cost, right? We have one of the things that some of our clients, they do omni retargeting as a strategy. They're selling omni-channel retargeting services, and there's a setup fee because it takes 30 hours to set that client up to be on all the marketing channels, to have all the assets built for their program. Now you can't give, if you give that away for free, who's going to pay for the 30 hours? You are, right? It comes out of your pocket. Now think about 30 hours times, let's say the average person's $20, right? An hour, right? So you're going to pay, what's that? $3,000. So what's that? 30 by 20, 2 3s is $6,000. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's not right.
Out of your pocket. I'm terrible at maths too, but it's a significant amount.
It's a significant amount of money out of your pocket that you have to pay to deliver that service. Yeah.
Yeah.
To deliver, because otherwise, and a lot of people do this. They tend to give away money, right? Because they can't see the money in reality, right? Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah. So
it's $600. Got $3,000. That's $600 cash that you got to pull out of your pocket.
Each client, right? Each client though. Yeah. So that multiplies. Absolutely. Yeah. So John, look, I think wrapping up here. There's so much value that you dropped. I think we even have to split it into 2 or 3 episodes. Mate, again, thank you so much for coming along. As I said, you were my very first coach and mentor as we ran through the process. And I think the stuff that you shared with everyone today, that's the stuff that got me from being, unable to even talk to someone on the phone to being super comfortable asking questions and really just understanding the mentality behind sitting down with a business owner and working out what they actually need, how it can help them, and then executing the plan itself. So I really appreciate all of that. I'd love to have you back on again some in the future. I know that I'm coming to your event in just a few weeks, so it'd be awesome to catch up. But mate, if someone wants to get your help, where's the best place for them to go?
Just go to consultingunleashed.com. And if you actually, what I've done is I've got a really fast 5 steps to generating clients. It's free. It's a mini course. I shot it on the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City. But it's a 5-step process. And if you follow the process, it's probably one of the fastest ways that you can put yourself into a deal opportunity. So if you just go to that website, consultingunleashed.com, press the Fast 5 mini course, that'll show you exactly what to do to get clients really quickly and obviously to get those results in your bank account. So thanks. And mate, I'd love to be on again. I'd love to talk to your audience about how to sell their time, like pre-sell a strategy session instead of just giving away their time for free, but actually get paid for the time that they deliver.
Right. There's so many topics I think I can get you back on for, so we'll definitely work it out. We'll sit down, have a few beers and map out what you can get back on. But so everyone definitely get onto that. So the 5 steps that John talks about, that's what I did at the very beginning. Even though there was a whole bunch of fear and even though I had no idea what I was doing, that's what got me over the hump and the stage of fluffing around and actually growing the business. So definitely get onto that. I know for a fact, first-hand testimonial that it works. So get onto that. Find John at consultingunleashed.com. We'll link it in the show notes. John, Nate, awesome as always. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next few weeks.
Thanks for having me here, mate. I look forward to seeing you. Take care.